Welcome. I'm Deborah Charoux, founder of Practitioner Development UK. We provide quality professional development courses for nurses and allied health professionals. The video clip you are about to see is a sample of the sort of training we offer on our musculoskeletal and minor injury programs. This is one of the many courses that we provide. For further information, go to our website, www.pduk.net. Thank you.
We're now going to examine the wrist and hand. And for this, we need to compare both sides. I need to have both wrists exposed completely. So we start by looking at both of the wrists, looking to see if there's any swelling. We turn them sideways, and then we turn them this way, so we can have a look at the palm and the volar aspect of the wrist here. Okay, you can relax that hand down. I'm going to support the arm here, and I'm going to ask the patient to do a range of movement for me. I'm going to ask you to bring your wrist back. This is dorsiflexion. I'm going to ask you to bring your wrist forward as much as you can. This is palmar flexion. Bring your hand back to a neutral position. I'm going to ask you to swing it towards your thumb, and that is radial deviation. And I'm going to ask you to swing towards me now, and that's ulnar deviation. All the time I'm keeping the arm still so that the shoulder isn't moving instead of the wrist. I'm going to ask you now to make a fist because this is a functional position. And I'm now going to ask you to keep your hand like that and don't let me open it. This tests the strength around the wrist and hand joint. Okay, relax your hand now. If your patient is having problems getting the range of movement, again, you can do passive movement for them. So you could bring the wrist back, bring it down into palmar flexion, bring it to radial deviation, ulnar deviation, and then to radial deviation. You'll have a slightly greater range of movement on passive movement. I'm going to ask you now to keep your hand still, and I'm going to do resisted movement now. So I don't want you to move, I want you to stop me from moving. Again, this is testing the tension and the strength in the wrist. And again, keep still. Very good. We also need to assess the neurovascular state of the wrist, so I'll have a feel of the radial pulse and also feel the three major nerves to the wrist, which are the radial, which rises up here onto the surface, the ulnar, which can be found along the outside of the little finger, and the median nerve, which is on the palm of the hand. We're now going to move on to the hand itself for movement. I'm going to ask you to spread your fingers wide for me. And I'm going to ask you to bring your fingers together. Adduction and abduction of the fingers is quite important. And then we're going to move to the thumb for a range of movement. I'm going to ask you to bring your thumb across to your little finger. This is called opposition. I'm going to ask you to bring your thumb to your index finger, which is the pinch position. I'm going to ask you to bring your thumb back as far as you can. And now curl your thumb in as much as you can so you're moving both of the joints here. I'm now going to ask you to relax your thumb, bring it out like this, and swing towards my finger. And now lay your thumb against your index finger. Those are the basic movements of the thumb. Additionally, we want to assess how good the ulnar collateral ligament is, which is here, and is frequently injured in the thumb. And for this, we need to hold the first metacarpal, ask the patient to relax their thumb, and just abduct it. There will be a natural stop at the end of the range of movement. If this is painful or if this is very lax, it may indicate damage around this ulnar collateral ligament here. Then we're going to move on to palpating the wrist and the hand. So I'm going to start quite high up. We always ask about the joint above, so I'm going to ask if there's any pain at the elbow. And then I'm going to come down and palpate the distal radius around here. I'm going to turn the hand up, and I'm going to feel into what we call the anatomical snuff box, which is the scaphoid. I'm going to continue on down onto the first metacarpal and onto the thumb. I'm going to also check then the second, third and fourth metacarpals for any pain. And then I'm going to come around to the lateral side, or the ulnar side of the hand, and I'm going to have a little feel around the ulnar styloid, which is this bony prominence here, and then carry up along the distal ulnar. We then have a feel generally across the carpal bones here, see if there's any tenderness there. To finish, we'll just feel the actual fingers themselves and see if there's any pain around any of the bony joints here or the bones themselves. And that's your hand and wrist examination.